Welcome back, Period. It never gets old.
Today we're back with another episode for Girls Just Being Girls.
Period.
I am your host, Rose.
And I'm your co-host, Bree.
And I am Kayla, just, coming in for today. This is going to be a juicy one.
Juicy.
Yes, if y'all haven't seen, Kayla has already been on our podcast, so already go and watch that video. I think it's like the second video.
No, it's the
it's
first
the
video.
Oh, it's the first video. Excuse the fuck out of me. But the first video. So go check that out, and then it will give you a little pretext to this story today.
Period.
So
So today's episode is Mr. Copman. You guys have all been ready and waiting for this one, locked and loaded.
Okay, I don't know if they're gonna be able to handle this. Okay, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to handle this, but we gonna get through it together. Okay.
They got a little details, in the other episodes, but this is going to be
This that one, not that two.
I guess we should all start off by saying,
Oh,
so Mr. Copman,
happy birthday!
So
LOL, JK.
if you guys didn't understand, I am dropping his episode on his birthday because I'm an asshole.
had to.
I think she's giving him too much credit, but go off.
You know what? I'm a go off queen.
All right.
Period. Okay. So so we're going to get into it. So just for like a little backstory for those that don't know, Kayla is my cousin. She's right here to my left.
To my right.
To Bree's right. And she was with me from the beginning of me talking to Mr. Copman. So she's known like every single thing that I have encountered with this man. And Bree came in kind of at the tail end of it. So she only saw the really, really toxic stuff. She didn't really get all the other juicy stuff from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to start off from the beginning. And I hope
All
y'all
right.
are.
Shit, let's dive in. Whoa.
Period.
Okay.
So, oh God, this is going to be great. Okay, so I started talking to Mr. Copman when I was in school. It goes back to 2022. It was fall of 2022. We were in class together. We had a couple of classes together.
Fall of 2022.
Man's helped me pass my classes. As you both know, I'm a fucking procrastinator.
Horrible.
she is.
Don't get me started, please.
And I am like, I am the worst at getting stuff done on time. So naturally, I was in a group with, like a Zoom group with this Mr. Copman. And we had gotten to know each other, and it was just me and him in this Zoom breakout room. And we were talking, getting to know each other. I don't even remember what we were supposed to be doing in class, but let me tell you, it did not happen because like we were talking, and then he said, "Oh, I'm a police officer." And I was like, "Cha-ching."
You are. Oh, you are.
You don't say.
So immediately I was like, "Oh, okay, like for sure." And ever since like that Zoom, like of course I was like, like discussion boards in class, like you have to like go and comment. So he was always one of the people I would go comment like, "Oh my God, that is so crazy. Oh my God, you have a dog?" Like what?
Oh my God.
And I'm just sitting there like shooting my shot. And then I was like, oh, so I don't have this man's number. So I emailed him from like the school email.
Oh, God.
Because you can see the
Period.
class roster. And I emailed him. I was like, hey, like I totally need some help with homework. Like you should totally like text me. So I sent him my number, and he had ended up texting me, and it kind of just started from there. And this was back in like, I want to say August or September. And the only reason I remember like that timeline is because I went to Nashville in September at like the end of the month in 2022. And I had gotten my first tattoo. And I had sent him a picture of it. And you guys know it's on my upper thigh.
Mm-hmm.
So I sent him a picture. He's like, "Oh, new tattoo." And I was like, And I was like kind of vibing, feeling him. And at this point, me and my ex were like breaking up. So I was like, I'm gonna shoot my shot. And like we had flirted back and forth. And like I was just like, okay. And he was like, "Oh, new tattoo. Like you should totally like, He was like, men.
Well, you guys were kind of just like getting to know each other, and then it kind of got flirty. So you were like, okay, let me, do a little something, something.
Right. And I didn't tell anyone about Mr. Copman at first. Like, I was just like feeling out the vibes. I was like, he's just a classmate. Like, I'm not going that route, especially like with my ex being in my life and we were living together. Like, I was not like really like, I'm gonna hit him up and like be on that. So then we started talking again in like October. Like, it fell out because like class ended. And you know, like he had said something about like, oh, like I'm going to go take a detective test. Like I have to study and like all that stuff. So he was like doing that. He ended up reaching out to me like 6 months later, 6 months or 7 months later. And it was like May or April or something like that. And he was like, hey, you. And this is key information, the hey, you.
Hola.
Hit her with the hey you.
He hit me with the hey, you a couple different times, but like he had hit me with the hey, you, it's been a while. I was just wondering how you were doing. And at this point, I'm like, me and my ex are done. And like he had just put his hands on me again. So like I was like, oh, okay, like I'm gonna entertain this. So like I was like, oh, like and obviously I could see like the messages we had in the past. I was like, oh yeah, like how did you, like your detective test go? Like he was like, oh, I passed. And like he was like, we should totally like do something, like get together. Like I was like, I still owe you drinks, you know, like I told him for helping me with class, like I, you know, got you on drinks. And he was like, well, I'm not really drinking right now, but like we could totally do something. And it was just like back and forth for like a couple months. Like we would go like weeks at a time not talking. And then he would hit me with the, hey, you.
Oh, God.
Like, and
Howdy.
howdy.
You still went back to school, but he didn't.
Right. Yeah. So he went back to school, or I went back to school and he didn't. So like, it was like that awkward, like, oh, what do we really talk about? Like, but it was just like,
you guys weren't in class anymore. So it was like, do I hit him up or not?
And like, obviously you could tell he was like vibing because he hit me up out of nowhere saying like, hey, you, how you doing? And then he, you know, being like the little, like, I don't even know how to explain it, but like he had sent me like these videos of him. He's like, I'm famous. Like I was on the news. And
Yeah.
Wait. News clips of him being on the news?
yes.
One of those.
That's crazy.
And I feel like you've seen it because I was like, you're like, oh, what does he look like? And I was like, damn, I don't have any pictures of him. But I was like, oh, wait, no, but he sent me this link. So I sent her the link. And I don't think I ever sent you the link, but he was doing like the gun buyback thing. Cause you know, like, you know, they do that. And he was like, was looking all buff in his little, like, he wears like street clothes, but he has like his vest on. And like, you could see his full sleeve of like
trying
tattoos.
to strut his
like,
stuff, you know?
Strutting it. And then there was one that he had sent me where he was like chasing a dog on I-55.
I don't think I've seen that one.
What? A video?
Yeah, there's a video that the news got of him like trying to chase his dog on the highway. And I was like, oh, awkward.
No,
like,
literally.
You ain't catching that dog.
Okay.
Sorry.
well, no, he ended up catching the dog.
Okay,
but
sorry.
like he did like when he was running, he like did a little waddle. Like
Was it a big dog, little dog?
it was like, I want to say it was like a pit or something. It was like,
Oh, a pit bull. Oh,
Yeah.
that's scary. I ain't fucking with that. I mean, there's a lot of nice pit bulls in the world. I'm pretty sure.
But you never know.
You never know.
is
And
the
I ain't gonna
problem.
be the one to fuck around and find out. I'm good.
you're like,
I'm straight.
I'm gonna stay back over here.
Literally, I'm gonna watch y'all handle that. I'm gonna sip on this right here.
And he like sent me, like he would go out of his way to send me pictures of like his work. And like he was just like, oh, like I got a gun arrest, and like would send me a picture of the gun.
Why? Take that
Literally.
into evidence, sir. What the fuck?
And then he got a drug bust, and he was like, look at what I got. He
Yeah,
was
like he
you
should
know,
have not been doing that.
Okay.
none of my business, but I'm exposing the business. What to do, baby?
Uh-oh.
Multiple pictures. I seen them.
They were good. They were juicy. And then like what did he say? Oh my God. Oh, and then he was like, oh my God, like I'm a superhero. I'm getting an award or something. And I was like, what? Like, what do you? And then he sent me like a synopsis of like the report. Where,
Not
like,
the description underneath the caption, bitch. Oh my God.
and he was like, yeah, like read the synopsis. Like this guy was like trying to like point a gun at us. And then he ended up like trying to kill himself. And like, we're all getting an award or whatever because like whatever.
De-escalated the
de-escalated.
situation,
Yeah.
right?
Basically something like that. And I was like, oh, like that's so cool. Like I didn't even read the whole synopsis. I was
Whoop
like,
the fucking do.
At that point, you were just trying to hype him up.
I was like, okay, like I see you, boo.
All right.
And And he was like, I was like, oh my God, you're famous. You're getting an award. And I just remember this conversation like clear as day. And he was just like, so if they were to do a reenactment, who would play me? I was like, not this
Nobody. Bitch, Jonah Hill. I don't know.
But like I'm sitting here and I'm just like, I don't even know who would play him because like at the time, like I was like, I can't even picture what he looks like because I hadn't met him in person yet.
Right.
And like I was just like, oh, like
Wait,
from
but y'all had class together. It
on
was just
Zoom.
online?
It was just online, and we only had like the Zoom class, and I never had my camera on, and like
Nobody ever does.
yeah, like
He didn't have his camera on?
he did when we were in the breakout room together, and of course I had mine on because I was like, oh, he looked cute on, like you know, and Bookie.
Girl.
So that happened, and I don't remember what I had said to him. I was like, God, I don't even know, but like, is it like Chicago PD? And he was like, I fucking hate Chicago PD. It's not even real.
Oh my God.
Like the show.
The show, yeah. So, and I was just like, oh, like I don't know how police officers be because I'm not a police
This
officer.
is not how we live in real life.
My
Yeah.
dad watches that shit religiously.
Oh my God, but that show's great.
It's really good. It's
And I'm
really
just
good for
like-
entertainment.
Right. I'm just like, is like the police life like that show? And he was like, no, like that is so like exaggerated. It is not how work is.
Could be because he's not in the action as much as he said that he was. You know, type
It
shit.
could
Bookie
be.
lie.
Uh-oh, why you always
You're
lying?
lying.
Why you always lying? Oh my God. Stop fucking lying.
So, like I said, this was in May when he had hit me up after like all those months of not talking. And then he hit me up in June. And this is what started a fight with me and Mr. Narcissist because he had texted me like, what are you doing tonight? And I was like, damn. And my ex had seen that text message and he was like, what are you doing tonight? Who the fuck is this? Like, why the fuck is he texting you? And I was just like, I don't know. And then it caused like an argument.
Not too cool to him.
I was like, I don't know what you're like, I don't know. And then like at this time it was like casual flirting. It wasn't anything like let's meet up other than drinks. And my ex knew that I told him let's do drinks because he helped me with my class, right?
Right.
And I'm just like, I don't know what he's talking about. So anyway, naturally I didn't respond to him. Me not responding to him is crazy because y'all know me. And then a month later he said, hey, you, how's it going? And like he kept going. So I was like, all right. So it's like July now. And I was like, all right. So like we like talked occasionally. And because of my ex, I would sit there and delete any sus messages because I'm like, I'm not trying to get on this because this man like would go on my phone. Like he would go through it. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not dealing with that.
It would just cause unnecessary arguments.
And you've been there for those. Yeah. And he didn't give a fuck. He put his hands on me in front of you. But
Literally.
not the point. Not the point.
Not the point.
So then September comes around. As you guys know, I literally left my toxic situation that I was in and I went back to my parents' house. I had to suck up my pride after living on my own for like 15 months. It was sad. I had to go back and now I'm living in the basement, but it's nice. It's all right. And a week after my birthday, I was like, I'm horny.
Oh, hell nah.
As usual.
I'm horny. And like the last person I had sex with was my ex. And I was like, I'm horny. I want to get sex. Right. So naturally, I texted Mr. Copman and I was like, hey, you.
Hey, you.
And it was just like, how are you doing? Like, how, blah, 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 blah. Then we didn't talk for a week because he was working. I was busy. And I wasn't like really like interested yet. And then I was leaving for El Paso. And I hit him up. I was like, hey, what are you doing? He was like, oh, like I'm about to get off work, like blah, 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 blah. And I was like, oh, like for sure. I was like, sex.
Ah!
Literally hit him with sex.
Sex?
Sex?
Pretty please with a cherry on top.
Sir? Please, Mr. Officer. And naturally, he was like, we were having a whole different conversation. And then I was like, oh, like I have to go to the airport tomorrow. And he was like, why? And then he was like, sex, question mark. What do you mean? And I was
Jumped
like,
on that.
literally, like we were having a whole nother conversation. And then he was taking a little too long to respond. So I said, sex, question mark. And then he like answered the other message, then said, sex? What do you mean? And then,
What do you mean?
And then I was like, yeah, like before I go, you want me to come over and like fuck? And he was like, I mean, yeah, like, do you have to go to the airport like to pick someone up, or like, do you want to like,
You want me to drop you off?
Right. So then he had asked me, I was like, no, like I'm going to the airport. I'm going to El Paso for a week. And he was like, oh shit, like you should just come here and then I'll take you to the airport. And at this time I was like, I have not met this man. Like I was just trying to like fucking dip, like fuck him and dip. And
But
that
he
was
offered.
he did. And now I'm sitting back and I'm like, why did this man offer to drive me to the airport? He didn't even know me. And he was like, the airport is like right by my house. It's like 8 minutes away. And I was like, the fact it's exactly 8 minutes away is fucking wild. Like he probably like looked it up real quick and was like, it's actually exactly 8 minutes away.
I mean, that's some shit I would do. I don't blame him.
Well, obviously I was going to go and I was like, well, I still got to pack. I was like, so there's no way that I'm going to like come over and then go to the airport. I was like, there's just no way because like I said, I'm a procrastinator. So I waited to pack until last minute. And now there's me. I'm going to El Paso again in 4 days. And I'm going for 22 days this time instead of just a week. And I have not packed a goddamn thing. And I still got to do laundry.
Crazy.
Off topic for a second there. But man, I am a fucking procrastinator. So I was just like, yeah, like I don't like, how would I even get to your house? Like if I like wasn't going to drive and I'm not going to drive to your house and then have you take me to the airport. Like that don't make no sense. So I was like, I'm going to just come over and then I'll like leave from there and then I'll, So that's what Rose did. And on my way out, I'm like, Mom, I'm going somewhere. Like, I'm going to go get some dick. Like,
be back in a few.
Be back in a little bit.
Just going to head out for a few moments. Have a smoke. I'll be back.
So I went and we had, like I got to his house and he like was like, hold on, let me put my dog outside. Like he will piss on you if like.
No, because I know how that is. The dog be too excited.
Wait, so when you got there, did he come out or he waited for you to come to the door?
Oh my God, this is key information. So it was so sweet. He like came out because like he knew how I was like iffy about going to his house because of the like the neighborhood that he's in. And he came out, he got me from my car, and then we walked in his house. And he did that for the first couple times I went over there. And then we went in the house, he let his dog out. And then he was like, he didn't give me like a tour, but he was like, this is my kitchen. And then this is a spare bedroom. And then this is my room. I was just like, okay.
This is where we're going to be.
So I was just like, okay, sounds good. And the first time we had done it, like he had obviously had his dog out of the room. And I was just like, God, I don't really know like what I'm doing. Like it's been so long since I've had sex with somebody that like wasn't my significant other. So I was just like, oh God, how do I even hook up with somebody? It's been years. So, we started like kissing. Well, first we talked for a little bit and then we started kissing.
Always gotta have a good talk first. Well, you gotta warm it up.
And then he like made the first move. He kissed me and I was just like, hey. And then
oh my gosh.
I'm a virgin. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not a virgin.
For the very first time.
All right. So, anyway. So like we had done the do. And then he lets the dog back in the room. And the dog like, me and my dogs. I love dogs. So like, I was like, come here, my little boo-boo. Like I was just like, all
And it's not a small dog.
No. He's the kind of dog
Belgian
you have.
Malinois.
Malinois, yeah. So
A what?
It
They
looks
call
like
them alligators. They
Oh.
use them as police dogs, so technically it's like a little bit smaller than a German Shepherd.
but they look like German Shepherds.
Mm.
Yeah, so he had that kind of dog, and like we talked for like a couple, like I want to say like an hour, and then I was like, all right, like I'm a dip, because like I was like, all right, I'm gonna
All right,
go.
this was nice and all, but I gotta go.
It was just a transaction,
Okay.
like the first time, and then I was like sitting there thinking, I'm like, man, like this shit was not that great. Like I don't think I'm gonna do it again, and like I had told my my other friend Emma, you guys know Emma. And I was just like, yeah, like I'm totally not going to do it again. And the only reason I told her right away was because I was going to see her and we were meeting in El Paso. So she like knew the whole situation. And so then I left and he walked me out to my car again and he kissed me goodnight. And he was like, let me know when you get home. Like, thanks for coming, whatever. And then he sees my boudoir picture that's in the back of my car because I had taken that shit out of the apartment when I left. I was like, my ex is not keeping my boudoir pictures. Like, fuck you.
Hell no.
So he was like, oh, like, you should totally, like, let me get that and, like, autograph it for me. And I was like, I was like, okay, like, sounds good. And, like, you know me, like, in my head.
And you gave it to him?
No, it's hanging up at my house. But
Oh.
I, like, you know me, I like to, like, I remember things like that. So I was just, like, feeling it, you know, going with the vibes. This is key information, too. So I was just, like, going with the flow. And like I said, this is like the end of September. I went to El Paso. And while I'm there, he like texts me. He's or in the morning, he was like, oh, like, thank you for coming. Like, I had a great time. I hope you had a good time. Blah, 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 blah.
Womp, womp, womp.
Womp, womp.
Didn't he say, like, let me know when you land?
Yes.
Like, he was being so attentive after that.
Yeah. So then the next morning, he was like, let me know when you get to the airport. Naturally, I'm like, okay. And I'm just like, this is like, I don't understand the vibe here, because he had originally told me, like, I'm not looking for anything. Like, I'm just looking for like a fuck buddy, basically. And I was like,
That's what they all say.
okay. So then we did the do, and then I went to El Paso. I was like, I'm at the airport. Then he's like, let me know when you land. So of course I let him know when I landed in El Paso. And he was just like, oh, like, have a great time, blah, 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 blah. And he was like, he texted me like the whole first day I was there. Then we didn't talk for 2 days or 3 days or something like that. And he was like, hey, like, have you ever been to this restaurant? And I was like, no. He was like, oh, like, maybe when you come back, like, we can like go there or something. And I was just like, oh, like, for sure. Like, I was like iffy, because I'm like, I don't understand. Like, I thought we were just fuck buddies. Like,
Right,
why are
and
you
he
trying
was
to
planning to
Right.
do something
Right.
like outside of just having sex?
Right. And like at this point I was so confused, because I think I told you at this point. I had told obviously Emma, and you, I wasn't talking to you until like November, but we'll get there. And I was just like, all right, so we're going with it. And I was like, no, I've never been there. And he was like, oh, like, when you come back, like, we should totally like go there. And, you know, and I was like, are you asking me on a date? And he was like, no, like a friendly date. Like, it's not like, and I was just like, oh, okay. And he was like, and then maybe you can meet like some of my friends. And I was like,
Wait.
hold the fuck up.
Me, my friends. What?
Like, I was just like, I was like, you know, maybe we could like slow down a little bit. Like, let's just reel it back.
All right, let's take it back a couple inches.
And I was just like, and the whole time I was there, I was telling my godmother, I was telling my friend, I was like, you know, I don't know if I want to fuck him again. Like, I don't know if I ever want to see this man again. And then the whole time he was texting me, he kept flirting with me and like doing the most. While I was gone, he was like, how was vacation? What did you do today? Like, asking me all these questions. And I was
just so odd.
Shit, I don't know, bitch. Let me enjoy it. Fuck.
And I was like, yeah. And then I like started like questioning. I'm like, okay, well, like, I mean, the sex wasn't that great, but I was like, it could be better, like with an improvement. Like, if we do it again, maybe
he
it'll
was
be
a little nervous too, you know.
right.
I mean, you could give it a second try.
So naturally, I come back from El Paso, and I like went to his house like a couple days after I got back, and we did the do, and it was actually not as bad the second time as the first time, but I think it was just like that awkward interaction.
First time in
like
person.
like especially when you're
Still-
meeting them for the first time.
You know each other for real. You don't know each other's bodies.
Yeah. And
Well,
then,
he still don't know your body. Well,
period.
I digress.
He don't know my body. So, went to his house. We did the do, and like it was like later in the night, and I ended up like sleeping at this man's house.
Uh-oh.
On accident.
Yeah, on accident.
You
Something in his
just fell
house.
asleep.
Fell asleep right in his bed,
Damn.
and
Dick put you to sleep.
it did put me to sleep.
It'd be like that sometimes, though.
And it was like that awkward, like
Mm-mm. I be putting people to sleep. They don't be putting me to sleep.
it was like really
Period.
awkward, because like I like fell asleep, and then I woke up, and I was like gonna leave, but I'm like, I really gotta go pee. And like, so like I woke him up. I was like that awkward,
Excuse
like
me.
I was like,
yeah.
and then he woke up. He was like, yeah, and I was like, I am so sorry. Like, I really have to pee. I was like, where's the bathroom.
Girl, I just would have got up and started investigating.
Exploring.
Let me go explore.
No,
got
I'd be
snacks?
scared of the dog. I'd be like, ah.
No, the dog was sleeping in the bed, like, at this point. Like, yeah, like, so I, like, got up, went to the bathroom, and then I came back, and he was, like, passed out, and, like, I was just like, all right, I'm gonna just lay back down. I was like, it's already, like, 5 a.m. I'm asleep for, like, a couple more hours, and then I'm gonna dip. So that's what I did, and then he, like, woke up, I want to say, like, around, like, 8:30, 9, then he had to go to work.
You really knocked that man out.
Yeah, like he was out. And then he had to go to work and he was like, let me know when you get home. So I was like, okay. And then I like let him know. And then he was like, thanks for coming by again. It was so fun. Like he kept like doing that the first couple times. He's like, thanks for coming. I hope you had a good time. And I was just like, oh my God, this man. I don't know. Like, and like, catch a vibe. And I'm just like, I don't understand this man.
Oh my God.
So then 2 days later, so I left on a Sunday. That Monday, I started my period. I was like, thank God I got my period, but that's a whole nother story, you guys.
Woo, y'all don't even want to know. Ugh.
I started my period, and he was like, hey, like, you want to, like, go to that place to eat? And I was like, I haven't ate today. Like, yeah, I'm down.
I'm hungry.
So we
Feeling famished.
I'm hungry. So we went out, and it was like our first little date that we went on. And we had gotten pizza, and like, you know me, like when I'm awkward or like I'm uncomfortable, like I don't eat that much. I don't eat that much in general, but like I eat really slow. So like we went on, and like he had gotten like, I think he got like White Claws or something to drink.
Oh.
And at this point I was on my my migraine meds, so I wasn't drinking. And we were getting to know each other. He didn't look at his phone once, so you know me, and I'm always on my fucking phone. So like I had my phone in my purse. We were getting to know each other, talking about a lot of stuff. And then he was like, so like your ex, like how did all that happen? Like, are you okay? Because he knew about the situation. So he had asked me about that, and I was like, yeah, like I don't want to talk about that. Like
We could skip that part.
like we could skip that. But like obviously like I had talked a little bit about it with him, but like I didn't want to go into too much detail because I'm like, this is I'm okay. And then I want to say like a week and a half later, Mans was in Vegas. He was there for a wedding, something like that. And I'd seen him before he left. And now we're in October. And then I'm talking to my friend Ayana, and she was like, what's his name again? She looks him up on Facebook because he told me he didn't have social media.
Yep.
Told me he didn't have social media, right?
Yeah.
So she looks him up, first, last name, bam!
Right away.
First person.
Top. Mr. Copman with his girlfriend as his profile picture. I said, what the fuck is going on? So I'm sitting here. This man's texting me like, oh, like, I'm so excited to see you when I come back. I'm like, bullshit, but
Bitch, what is this? What is this?
So me being the toxic person I am, I obviously had a picture of me in my hot tub, and I said, I'm missing you. I can't wait for you to get back.
Oh, hell nah.
Because I'm gonna fuck this man one more time because I was enjoying it. And then I'm a dip, right? I'm gonna confront him about it. And everyone's like, nah, you need to confront this. Everyone says you need to confront this man and not fuck him. Like, or if you're gonna fuck him, you're gonna confront him like in person. And I was like, oh, like, yeah, I'm like totally. And I
I
think
was one of those people. I was like, you need to do it in person. Don't be doing that shit over text just because you scared. You know?
Bitch. And I guess y'all can guess what she did.
so I went to his house when he had gotten home. And this is where the lying really, like, I was noticing. So, like, I was just like, oh, like, let me know when you land. And, like, as you know, like, as an Android user, if you don't have iMessages, like, your text will not go through unless you have phone service. So he was like, oh, like, we're not going to land for, like, another hour. And he texted me. We don't have we have no social media, so it's not like he had Wi-Fi or some shit like that. Like, no, this man like texted me. He was like, oh, I'll be landing in like an hour. And like me being the psychotic bitch that I am, there was only one flight coming in the time frame.
This bitch looked it up.
No,
Yo
I would have
ass-
done it too. I've done it before.
Not
I'm not
you
even
looked
gonna
it
lie.
up.
I
You're
looked up
funny.
I looked up the flight, and it said that it landed 1 minute before he texted me. So
Wait, but when he was in Vegas, wouldn't he like text you for 1 hour and then you wouldn't get a response for like another like 6-7 hours when he was there?
he would text me when he was out, like when he was out doing stuff, and then like it was like he was messaging me while he was at the wedding that he was at. He sent me like a picture while he was there, and he was like, "Oh, like I'm so drunk, blah 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 blah. You should take advantage of me." And I was like, "Okay, like
That's crazy. And your girlfriend's right next to you? Mm-mm.
Probably.
This is why my significant other can never be on the phone with me, because you're cheating right in front of my fucking face. I don't trust you. Fuck. Oh my God. I'm sorry. But continue.
So I was like, "Oh, like how are you texting me?" And he was like, "What do you mean?" And I was like, "Well, normally like you can't
He
text."
was either dumb or was playing dumb.
Okay.
And he was like, I was like, "You can't normally text when you don't have an Android." He's like, "Oh, it looks like we're landing now." And
Switched up real quick.
I was like, "Oh,
he could have been
okay."
on the plane Wi-Fi.
Not with normal
Not
text
with
messaging.
Android?
No,
Oh,
you have
damn.
to. You could only do it with iMessage, and it literally
Why
says
would y'all
that.
why would y'all not want an iPhone? Like, bitch, what you mean I can't use my phone in the plane in the air? What?
Well, he could use it if he had Wi-Fi, but he can't text because it's not iMessage.
Exactly.
Wait, not that it matters, but about his age.
Oh, he is
You
30.
never really specified.
He's 30. Well, today you're 31. Hi, baby. Happy birthday.
So I feel like, did y'all have like the iPhone Android talk? Like
So,
you need to
Like the
switch.
Google Play?
So we had this conversation, I want to say like the first or second time, and I was like, so like why Android? And he was like, well, I hate iPhones. Like I would never have an iPhone again. And I was like,
That's what old people who got Androids say.
I was like, oh, okay, like for sure. He's like, yeah, and the camera quality is so much better. And I was like, no, the fuck it not. No, it's not. What do you mean?
But okay.
So
Go off though.
he was like, oh, we're landing now. And I was like, oh, okay, like for sure. And like I was taking a half day because I was like, I'm gonna go get me some. And my mom was like, really, bitch? Like you're taking a half.
Thirsty. Drink some fucking water, ho.
Literally,
Your
what-
bowl's in the corner. Go.
And my mom was like, why are you still like pursuing this? Like he has a girlfriend, and like, so like I didn't want to be a hoe after me and my ex had like ended. So I was just like, I'm gonna stick with one person. I don't care if he's single or not, because at this point I had already caught feelings like a dumbass.
Stupid.
And I know I would
Acting real fucking stupid.
So he was like, oh, like I'll let you know, like I have to go pick up my dog and blah 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 blah. But if I remember correctly, he didn't even have his dog there. Like he didn't even have his dog.
What you mean?
When you went?
Like when I went, he told me he was gonna go pick up his dog and then he was gonna go home after because his dog was staying with, I think, family or something. And I was like, oh, like for sure. But the dog wasn't even there. Like if I remember correctly, I think like it wasn't even that. So I think like whoever he had with him from the plane, he wanted them to grab their car and dip, like, and then be like, all right, come over. Like,
Could be.
so I think that's what was up.
He
And
needed some time.
literally.
I mean, he had to make up some shit. Damn, my bad. But he had to make up some shit, you know, to keep you distracted.
And I was just like, oh, like,
That's
okay.
what you got to do sometimes when you lying to a motherfucker. I know. I've done it from experience.
Me too at this point. But so went to his house, did the do, and like
Crazy.
my friend was like, I don't know how the fuck you fuck this man and like we're completely okay, like knowing what you knew. And I was like,
How did your vagina get wet after that? I would have slapped the shit out of that man. No, for real. Being that, and then he didn't give you no head.
ever.
I know he didn't give you no head. So how did you manage to, keep the waters flowing? I'm just
So like
please enlighten me.
I think it was the handcuffs.
Oh my God, it was definitely the handcuffs. He used handcuffs on me a couple different times.
But in that specific time, he used handcuffs.
I don't remember. I do remember it being a hot sex time when I went there.
That's crazy.
I don't really remember the whole gist of it. I want to say like,
After Vegas, you mean?
yeah, after Vegas. After Vegas, he did use the handcuffs on me for the first time. But I don't remember if it was that same day. I don't think it was because it was like a quickie and then he was going to work. Like he dead ass like came back from Vegas and then did OT. Like that's what he did. So I was like, all right. Or at least he said he was doing OT. I don't know. That's none of my business at this point. But
you were supposed to confront him that night.
Right.
I was supposed to, it was middle of the day. I was going to confront him and then I ended up not doing it. And then I waited until I got home. I waited like an hour or so. And then I texted him and I was just like, so like, obviously, you know, all the stuff like that happened with my ex and like, you know how like overprotective my friends are because at this point I had told him about some of my friends. And like, if you had a girlfriend, I don't know why you couldn't have just said that, you know, like, I don't understand. And he was like, oh my God, like Rose, you're so right. Like, you know, like it's not morally right what I was doing and you know I should have just been honest with you. And I was like, honestly, you should have just told me straight up. Like at the end of the day, like I probably would have still continued to fuck you. And I mean at the end of the day, like it is what it is. But like one thing I don't like is being lied to. I was like, had you just been
for him to make a sob story for himself about it.
Right. And he was like, I just don't like talking about my personal life and blah 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 blah. And at this point I'm just like, this motherfucker, like I don't like
tomato.
So then I was like, you know, like I don't really want to like stop what we're doing.
And that's where she fucked up.
And he was like, oh my God, me neither. And I was like, okay, like cool.
Great.
So before we had confronted him, obviously like Rose had done like he had his Facebook on lock. Like you couldn't really see anything, but of course
it was on private.
It was on like a very secured private. Like you couldn't even like see like anything.
Damn.
But if you went to his profile picture that he had with the girlfriend, you could see people that liked his post. And I was like, okay, let me like go through the people.
See, she might be in that bitch. Yup. All right, good detective work, detective.
And of course, we found her. And
Crazy.
the only reason I had found her was because she also had her Facebook profile picture of them too. And I was like,
Two peas in
period.
a pod.
so me being the
Love that.
I love like the toxic, love the plot. I'm like, I'm here for the plot. Like, what is Rose gonna do about this? Like, I have this information. I confronted him about it. And at this point, I still have her name, have her Facebook. I was like, I could message this girl and I could be like, this is like, your man is a fucking whore. Like, he's cheating on you. If he's cheated on you with me and he's done it so smooth, like, I bet you he's cheated on you with other people because y'all been together for I don't know how long.
Mm-hmm.
But like,
And when you confronted him, I can't remember, did he bother to ask like how you found out?
no, I said my friends are overprotective. Like, of course they looked you up. Like, I don't know why you had to lie about social media. And he was like, I just like to keep my like private life private. And I was like, but like you went out of like the only reason I knew he had blocked me like immediately getting my number is because I like obviously I saved his contact and you know how like Snapchat or like Facebook will like people you may know or like quick ad like it'll pop up. Like it never popped up. But like if you like type in their name, like you can sometimes see like their username. It never popped up for me. And I was just like, all right, like cool. Like I never really thought too much into it. I was like, oh, like he's a police officer. Like that could make sense. Like maybe he just
I told you no, that's not the case.
No.
I warned you.
So we kept it going because I was there for the plot. I was like, I was so adamant about not seeing anyone else because I was like, I don't want to like have sex with anyone else. I just want to be like a little hoe for this man because why not? And I was like, man, he's a cop. So like bonus. And like we had seen each other like once or twice a week after I'd confronted him. And then it kind of went to like once a week. And then it went to like once every 2 weeks. Like it was obviously like fading away. And I was just like, all right, bet. And obviously I was like try and keep the conversation going. And I thought it was going at least in a, I want to say a decent direction. I don't really know. Like you've seen the messages.
He was being dry. And every time that you kind of initiated that you wanted to hang out, I felt like it was always, oh, I gotta work, or I'm working overtime this week, or I got to do this, I got to do that, and always an excuse.
He was dodging you.
Yeah, like after like, but then he would like go out of nowhere and be like, "Hey, like, you want to come over?" Like, and then she was just like, "Why are you like?" He hit
When it
you up,
was
like it was like
convenient for him
right.
was the thing, or the girlfriend was not there.
No, literally, I don't really understand that whole relationship. But then, I want to say like November, he had broken his foot. Yeah, it was like the beginning of November. Because at this point, I'm like, oh, I'm going to do a boudoir shoot. Like, this man wanted a boudoir picture of me. And I was just sitting there. I'm like, let me be the, that bitch. So, like, naturally, in October, I was like, here's some lingerie. Like, which one's your favorite? And he picked out a couple. And that's, of course, what I wore for the lingerie shoot. Or the boudoir shoot. And the first week, he had broken his foot. And at this point, his best friend had started hitting me up.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Well, that's how you found out about Snapchat. Was because his friend popped up, and then, right?
No. So it was so bad. So
Break down the timeline. Take your time.
I found out about Snapchat because I'm at full disclosure. I had my friend Ayana.
Shout out to Ayana, man.
She's a G.
She 10 toes down, man. Shout out to you, baby.
She's my ride or die. If I'm going down, she's going down with me. But I gave her his number. And this is where it gets juicy, guys. Hold on, wait. I gave her his number and I was like, does he have a Snapchat? So like she put it in, and then like 2 hours later she got the blah 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 is now on Snapchat, or like your mutual and I was
friend.
like, this motherfucker, like this is how I knew. So I was just like, all right, bet. So I like left it alone.
She added him, right?
No, he added her, but we're gonna get to that. We're not even there yet. And all right, so what was I talking about? Damn. So his best friend, he hit me up on Instagram. Like I saw he had like viewed my story, and I was like, this is weird. Like that name looks familiar. But then I went on his Instagram before he had made it private, and there was a dog, and I was like, wait, I remember this dog. I was like, I think this is his roommate's dog. So like I went back to pictures that he had sent me in the past, and I was like, oh my God, this is the same dog. Like I'm not crazy. And like I knew that the man was in the reserves, and he like was also a police officer. So like, seeing his pictures, I was like, oh, okay, so like now I'm putting like a face to the name that he was saying. And I was like, all right, bet. So I followed him. I was like, follow. And then he messages me like an hour later and then followed me back. He was like, sorry for the ad. I just wanted to like, you look familiar. And I was like, oh, like for sure, like you look familiar too. Not really. I didn't even know what this man looked like.
Even though Mr. Copman's dog was in the photo.
No, his dog was in the photo, but Mr. Copman had sent me a picture of his roommate's dog.
Ew.
So like that's how I realized that it was the same guy.
What we thought at first was that they were talking about her, and then he did it on purpose.
Yeah, so they definitely did. I mean, so they had talked about me, and I was just like, this is so weird. Like, I don't understand, like, so he messaged me. He was like, like, you look familiar. I was like, yeah, you look familiar too. He's like, yeah, like, I was like, I think I just have a familiar face. He's like, oh, yeah, like, and he's Hispanic. So he was just like, yeah, you go to a taco joint, you'll see, like, I'm like, I don't know. He was basically like making like a joke. He's like, you go to a taco joint and you've definitely seen me. And I was just like, I was like,
okay.
Oh, okay. And then he was like, yeah, I totally eliminate the reason for you to have to go to a taco joint. And I was like, what? Like, he was like, that was a horrible attempt at a joke. And I was like,
weird conversation.
Yeah, it was like a really weird conversation. And he was like, oh, well, I just wanted to like hit you up because I thought you were cute. And I was like, oh, like for sure. And he was like, you got a man? I was like, yeah, I got a man. Because I thought I was getting set up by this man. I was just like, I don't understand what's going on. So then naturally later I went to Mr. Copman's house to, get some dick. And and I was like, have you talked to any of your friends about me? And he was like, no, why? And I was like, no, like, have you like talked to any of your friends about me? And he was like, well, yeah, actually, now that I think about it, today I was at the gym with my friend. And like, I was like telling him about you. And I was like, did you give him my last name? And he was like, no, why? And I was like, it's weird because like he followed me on Instagram and he messaged me and he was like, what do you mean? Like he had like this face and like I couldn't tell if like he was like he knew that he messaged me or like he was like, what? Like he messaged you? Like how did he get your like I just it doesn't
kind of irritated about it.
like he didn't have me on any social media because he blocked me. So how the fuck did his friend find me on social media if he didn't give him my first and last name? Because that's my Instagram. I'm like, I don't understand. The math ain't mathin', motherfucker.
Do better. Make it math.
So, like I said, that week he had broken his foot and then he was, you know, conveniently unavailable because the man couldn't drive. He broke his driving foot. And I was like, all right, cool.
Wasn't it for the second time?
Yeah, but he had
On the
broke.
job?
Yeah.
Womp, womp, womp.
Womp womp. Kayla's like, let me just add in some extra facts here.
Because it was ridiculous.
Okay, she gonna come with the facts.
It was ridiculous.
These are things we need to know.
So then a week later, I see like in my quick ad, his best friend. And I was like, the only reason I knew it was his best friend was because it's the same username as his Instagram. So I'm like, oh yeah, you're gonna add him.
Right.
So I like added him and then like, oh, a day goes by and he adds me back. And I was like, oh, okay. So then later that week, I'm with my cousin Kayla. We're at the bar on our local tour. And well, actually, no, it wasn't even like a local tour. It was literally there because we were getting tacos and we had gotten like some drinks.
Oh, yeah, we were just chilling.
Yeah, we were just chilling. And Mr. Best Friend, Mr. Reserves, decided that he was going to message me. He's like, get lit. You remember
we
that?
were posting on our Snapchat.
Because we were posting on Snapchat and he's like, you should get lit. And I was like, so me and her took a shot together and I was like, getting lit, my guy. And then he had like sent me a picture of like him playing.
He was
like,
he was at work.
He was at work and he was like, Dungeons and Dragons at work. Hell yeah. I was like, drinking at the bar. Hell yeah.
Right.
And then I was like, you should totally come like drink. And he was like, well, I get off at like 1:30. You remember this?
Yep.
And then me and Kayla are like, all right. So like, we're still drinking. We drank a lot.
We did.
And
because we met up with some people that were there and we just kept drinking and kept drinking.
And then we were driving in her Camaro. And I had thrown up. Like...
Shine.
Had to bring that up, huh?
No, like I was that fucked up. Okay, I threw up in her Camaro and
Didn't get it like anywhere but on herself and in a cup, so we're good.
like I should have just canceled going over there, but I was like, man, I'm horny and Mr. Cotman is not available and will not be available anytime soon. So I was like, all right, so I'm gonna go over there. The man was like, I'll, like we could have a couple shots at the house. And I was like, all right, bet. And he had like this tequila from Mexico. And I was like, ooh, like tequila.
Hell no.
Y'all know when tequila gets in rows, what happens?
She wanna fuck.
Y'all know what to do. So after that, I had a hoodie in my car. So I'd grab that and then Kayla gave me her leggings. Literally the leggings that she was wearing.
Took them off of me.
She took them off of her. I put them on.
Screaming.
Because I threw up on my pants.
I didn't want to go in the house and wake everybody up and then come back out. I was like, girl, you can just take these.
She went in the house. Was like hurried up.
So I changed in my car. She changed in her car. And then we went to, she went wherever she was going. And then I had went to, I went to Mr. Reserve's house and I was like really anxious going over there. And then we ended up like sitting in there. He gave me a tour of his house, which his house is like really like, it looked small on the outside, but it's actually pretty like decently sized in the inside. And I was
And
like,
you said it was pretty clean and neat, right?
like very neat, very clean. And I was like, oh,
Right.
like this is cool. And like he had like a cute little living room with all his like gaming stuff in the living room. Okay, so I'm like horrible and I have like proof of like all the times that I was at Mr. Cotman's house.
Oh.
And I have proof that I was at the best friend's house, but that's a whole nother story. And like, well, not even, we're talking about it. We're debriefing.
All right.
But like I took pictures because I was like, I need evidence. Like,
Yep.
Yeah.
because if anything ever goes south, like, nah, like, I was at his house on this day, here's him.
This time.
And, like, he never knew that I had done it. And I'm a horrible person for doing it.
No.
But, like, I have pictures of, like, his TV. I have pictures of, like,
Nah,
the Hulu.
Gotta
With, like,
have all
sometimes
the
you-
evidence.
I'm sorry. I just can't help smacking it. I can't. It's like, it's in the fucking way, bro.
So he like gave me the tour of the house, and then he was like, his kitchen was like very nice. I was like, oh my god, this is like such a dream. Like he had like this big ass dining room table, and like he had like the stove, and I was just like, this is like so cute. And then he showed me upstairs, and then he was like, yeah, and blah blah blah. And I was like, all right, bet. So then we're back in the kitchen after we go upstairs and back downstairs. He's like, oh, do you want like a shot? And I was like, of the Mexican tequila? Yeah, like let's try it.
Did you look at the name?
No, I have no idea. Like
She was fucked up.
I was fucked up already when I got there, and like the fact that he had went, we're not even there yet. So like I was so fucked up. Like you saw me, I should
That's
not
why
have
I
drove
tried
there.
to make you drink water.
Yeah, and then of course like
You just gotta force her, bro.
Rose had the mints, so I was just like, we're gonna go, and hopefully he doesn't kiss me a lot. And this man was making out with me. I was like, this is a poor girl.
Breath on 10.
No, it was good. I was fine. And then we took the shot of tequila, and like he had like this like nasty ass like lemonade, but it was like not normal lemonade. It was like
Made it
like-
himself type.
no, it was like flavored. It was like flavored lemonade or like something. It was like weird, and I was like, ugh, like this is gross. I'd rather chase this tequila with water. Like that's how
not some
gross
Minute
it
Maid
was.
lemonade.
no.
nothing
Hey,
like
if
that.
you ever chase your tequila with water, use a real person. Use real, because
or don't chase it at all.
I mean that too, but you gotta be crazy to chase your tequila with water. That's all.
But that
Sometimes-
shit was spicy.
No, it was a little spicy. It just go down smooth. You just like it's refreshing.
And
Clean the
then-
palate. It cleaned the palate. Keep your teeth shining.
He had gave me like a cup of water, and I didn't drink it before we had done the do. And I'm not gonna lie, man's pee was a lot bigger than Mr. Cop Man.
Oh shit!
But like, okay, so let me go back. Reverse. So we sit on his
okay,
couch.
hold on. I'm sorry. We needed a moment of silence for that. You can't just like brush the information. You was just trying to hurry. I needed a second to process that. Okay.
Just blurted that out really quick.
Okay. All right.
So
Continue.
we're sitting on his couch in the living room, and he had got me like a cup of water because I told him, I'm like,
Not
man,
much.
I'm fucked up.
So
like
we
I
talk
need
about
some
like
water.
inch, 2 inches.
No, we're gonna get there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So we're sitting on the couch and we're like talking, and I was just like, wait, you know who I am, right? He was like, yeah, like I know who you are. And I was like, okay, like I was just
He
like,
admitted it.
I was like, okay. I was like, so like I've been fucking your best friend. And he was like, yeah. And I was like, oh, so you know about like his girlfriend? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, oh, okay. And then like he had like said something, and then he like out of nowhere, like I was like, I don't even remember the term that I had used, but I had said something, and he was like, now that we had like we're past that, like I kind of want to taste you.